The desert night smelled of smoke and blood. Fires burned low where vehicles had been torn apart, and the crackle of distant gunfire faded into a heavy silence. The sand was littered with shell casings, jagged metal, and the shadows of men who would never rise again. Amid the chaos, she sat slumped against the wreckage of a Humvee door, her left hand pressed tight against her side, blood leaking through her torn combat shirt. Her breaths came shallow and sharp, yet she refused to cry out. She was silent, unnervingly silent. The CLs moved with the precision of men trained to fight in darkness. They barked orders, dragged their brothers to cover, checked weapons, and secured perimeters. Out of the corner of their eyes, they saw her, the woman who had appeared in the middle of their firefight like a ghost. Not one of theirs. No patch, no insignia. Alone. The medic noticed her first. Broad-shouldered, sleeves rolled to his elbows, his face streaked with dust and sweat, his eyes swept the field for survivors. When he saw her sitting upright, bleeding but silent, something in him shifted. He ran to her, dropped his kit, and tore it open. His hands pressed gauze into her wound, blood seeping through instantly. His curses cut the air, but her silence remained. Her eyes fixed somewhere beyond him, unflinching. Even as pain carved deep lines across her face, the surrounding SEALs glanced over, unsettled. They had seen men scream, beg, cry out when death drew near. But this woman sat still, lips pressed thin, silence wrapped around her like armor. The medic's voice grew sharp, demanding answers. Still, nothing. Only when her lips parted did words finally fall. A whisper, steady, deliberate. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. The night stilled, even hardened warriors froze. Their curiosity pulled toward her. The commander approached, his boots crunching through the sand, his voice low as he studied her like a puzzle. She lifted her gaze slowly, eyes like firelight cutting through him. I don't belong to your wars, she said. And with those words, silence swallowed the rest. The medic worked relentlessly, his hands slick with her blood, frustration in every motion. He asked again, softer this time, almost pleading. Her response came in fragments. People you'll never meet, places you'll never go. Nights darker than this one. Her voice carried the weight of something larger than the battlefield itself. Images haunted her, jungles heavy with rot and smoke, deserts where sand turned to blades, cities where every face was a mask. She whispered of missions without names, operations designed never to exist. I was trained by ghosts, she murmured. Men who didn't have names, women who didn't have faces. We belonged to no flag, no country. We fought for something no one could see. The medic's chest tightened. Myths whispered among soldiers were no myth at all. They lived, breathed, bled. And now one of them was in front of him. The commander's jaw hardened, but the medic understood. She would never give them answers. Only fragments. Pieces were all they were ever going to get. And still, those pieces were heavier than truth. As dawn neared, her breaths grew heavier, her body weaker. Yet even fading, she held herself steady. One CL asked cautiously what she called herself. Her answer was immediate nothing. The word hung in the air like a weapon, cold and absolute. The medic fought harder, refusing to lose her. His voice broke as he leaned close. Why won't you tell us everything? Her eyes opened, steady despite the shadows consuming her. Because some truths will break you more than this war already has. The weight of her silence pressed down harder than smoke, heavier than grief. She wasn't just carrying wounds. She was carrying an entire world no one else could bear. Dawn broke across the desert. The horizon glowed gold, stretching endless beneath the rising sun. The medevac arrived, rotors thundering through the morning. Wounded were loaded, the dead remembered in silence. When they reached her, she was barely conscious, her hands still pressed against her wound. The medic leaned close, fierce in defiance. "You're not done. Not here. You're going to live." Her lips curved faintly, a ghost of a smile. "I've been fading all my life." He shook his head as the stretcher lifted her toward the helicopter. "Not anymore. Not today." The helicopter rose, her silhouette framed against the dawn. He didn't know her name, her unit, or if he would ever see her again, but he knew this. She had stunned them all, not with her fight, not with her wounds, but with her silence. The screen fades to black. The sound of helicopter rotors dies into stillness. A voice, soft and cinematic, speaks. "Not all wars are fought on battlefields. Some are fought in silence." She was wounded. She was unbroken. And in her silence, she stunned them all.
Like, comment,
Subscribe. Because stories like hers deserve to be remembered.